They discovered the shocking reason Jesus met Moses and Elijah on the Mount of Transfiguration. Few knew what truly happened that night. On a secluded mountain peak, beneath a sky swirling with star-studded darkness, Jesus stood, his heart pounding. The air crackled with electric anticipation. There, in a blinding flash of light, appeared two figures, Moses and Elijah. Breathless and wide-eyed, the disciples watched, their hearts racing in confusion and awe. Moses, the great lawgiver, draped in rich robes, carried an aura of authority. His presence sent chills down spines. The tales of his encounters with God still echoed through the ages, flames, tablets, parting seas. Next to him, Elijah, fiery and intense, was a whirlwind of passion and prophecy. He spoke in whispers that echoed thunderously across the ancient land. Judgment and redemption danced on his tongue like flames. This was not an ordinary moment. This was a collision of their stories, and each figure seemed to hold the weight of history as the wind howled around them. What were they discussing? The meaning of sacrifice, the echo of prophecy. The disciples could feel their breaths hitch, their thoughts racing. It was a breathtaking reveal in the quiet terror of the night, a glimpse into the divine plan unfolding before their very eyes, yet the heart of the mystery lay deeper still. The cloud that enveloped them was not just a backdrop, it was a cradle of sacred whispers, unveiling the truth of what was to come. The disciples, caught between fear and fascination, couldn't grasp the enormity. Did they catch a glimpse of salvation? Or were they witnessing the shadow of despair, what lay ahead for Jesus, standing at the crossroads of past and future? Would the revelation they witnessed lead to triumph or lead them all into the valley of darkness? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the vibrant glow of the mountain descended and the figures of Moses and Elijah began to fade, an eerie stillness enveloped the scene. Jesus remained, his face illuminating the hushed twilight. It was a moment heavy with significance, a breath caught in time, lingering in the air like incense unresolved. The disciples, still trembling from what they had witnessed, looked to Jesus with eyes wide open but hearts puzzled. The power of the conversation, the very essence of what had been shared, hovered above them like a cloud, thick and impenetrable. "What did you speak of?" Peter finally managed to ask, his voice a mere whisper, almost drowned by the rustle of leaves and distant mountains. He felt an urgency to fathom the depths of such a divine communion, yet words escaped him. Jesus turned towards them, his expression reflecting a blend of compassion and depth, a mirror of the divine mystery that surrounded him. "We spoke of what is to come," he said. His voice was gentle but resonated with a gravity that set their hearts racing anew. Moses spoke of the law, the covenant given, and how the heart of the people bends and breaks. Elijah reminded us of the prophets, the voices who have long cried out for restoration and truth. James shifted uneasily, the enormity of the night pressing hard against his chest. "But why now?" he pressed, seeking to understand how this moment intertwined with their journey. "What does it mean for us, for your mission?" His question hung in the air, laden with both curiosity and fear. Jesus gazed into the distance, as if peering beyond the confines of time and space. "To fulfill, I must embrace all that was spoken. The law, the prophets, each story woven together in the fabric of God's plan. It leads to redemption, yet shadows the path of sacrifice." There was a depth in his voice that made the disciples shrink before him, reminders of their own understanding slipping away into a deeper spiritual mystery. Suddenly, clouds gathered above them again, darker this time, swirling with the gravity of impending revelation. It felt as if the heavens themselves were drawn into the gravity of the moment. What if, Thomas thought, there is more to the sacrifice than we comprehend? Might it echo through time? Then a voice, low and thunderous, emerged from the cloud. "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased, listen to him." The weight of the declaration echoed in the souls of the disciples, as they fell to the ground, overwhelmed by the holy command. The voice was a reminder, a call to attention, yet what were they to listen for? As the voice faded, the fear shifted to wonder, and the disciples found themselves struggling to find footing. They raised their heads slowly, expecting to see Moses and Elijah. Yet, the mountain echoed with silence, leaving only Jesus, standing serene yet somber. "We are called now to witness, to understand the unfolding mystery," he said, as if sensing their bewilderment. "But you must keep this vision close. For the journey ahead will test your hearts, ignite your fears, and shatter your presuppositions." A chill ran through the disciples, as uncertainty shadowed their hearts. How could they carry such knowledge? What could this mean for the time to come? Silently, they wondered if they were truly ready for the revelations ahead. As they made their way down the mountain, the weight of the moment followed them. Could they truly embrace what lay before them? Would the revelations wield hope or despair in the days to come? Each step they took stirred within them more questions than answers, leaving their hearts charged with a deep spiritual curiosity. What does it mean to listen to him, in all the tumult that is to come? The descent from the mountain was steep and winding, and the air felt heavy with the burden of the night's revelations. Each footfall stirred stones and leaves, a rhythm that accompanied their contemplative silence. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting long shadows that danced beneath their feet, a metaphor for the uncertainty that pulled at their spirits. As they walked, the disciples exchanged anxious glances, the weight of the divine encounter still fresh in their minds. "What does it mean to fulfill the law and the prophets?" John finally asked, breaking the stillness. His voice was a thread of curiosity woven into the fabric of their anxious thoughts. "How can it lead to redemption when it feels so tied to sacrifice?" Jesus slowed his pace, his gaze fixed on the path ahead. "Both the law and the prophets speak of God's heart for his creation," he replied. "Moses shared the covenant, the guidelines for living life as a holy people. Elijah proclaimed hope in the face of despair. But the fulfillment requires a depth of understanding that surpasses mere actions. It journeys into the heart." The disciples listened intently, their spirits striving to grasp the meaning hidden beneath his words. Yet, Thomas, ever the skeptic, furrowed his brow. "But what of our dreams of the kingdom, Jesus? How does suffering fit in with the glory we've long envisioned?" His doubt hung between them like an uninvited guest, and the air grew thick with tension. Jesus paused, turning to face them, his presence a tower of calm amidst their swirling emotions. "You must remember, my friends, that the true essence of the kingdom is often cloaked in humility. The story we are part of doesn't glorify power or prestige, it finds its depth in love, sacrifice, and the unyielding truth of God's will." Peter, filled with a passionate protectiveness, spoke with fervor, "But we believed you came to reign, to vanquish our enemies. This path it leads to pain." A shadow flickered across Jesus' face, mingling with the twilight. "Pain, yes. But also partnership. You are not merely spectators, you will become participants in this unfolding narrative. Do not fear, for those who walk in the light of truth find meaning even in the valley of shadow." As they continued to traverse the rugged terrain, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew cold around them, laden with the thick scent of impending rain. The clouds loomed overhead, swirling ominously, and the disciples found themselves glancing upward, apprehensive yet anxious for the storm that threatened to break. Suddenly, Jesus halted, his gaze piercing into the heart of the tempest. "This is the very essence of our journey. Can you trust in the unseen while the storm rages around you? Can you hold on to hope when the calls of the past seem to drown out the whispers of the future?" His words were a call to faith, a challenge that reverberated within their spirits, calling them deeper into the mystery that encompassed their path. Matthew, always attuned to the financial intricacies of life, thought of the cost of following him. Will we be forsaken, left wanting? Will the world understand our calling? His question echoed a lingering fear, a reminder of their tangible needs in an uncertain world. "Your calling transcends earthly provisions," Jesus responded, a fire igniting in his voice. "Blessings flow, not always as you expect, but always from the heart of the Father. Those who seek first the kingdom will unearth riches beyond measure." With that declaration, a sudden flash of lightning curled through the clouds, illuminating Jesus' face for just a heartbeat. In that fleeting moment, the disciples felt a shiver run down their spines, a recognition that this was indeed the path they had chosen, a path interwoven with divine mystery and human struggle. As they continued walking, a question emerged like a quiet whisper within each of their hearts: could they dare to embrace the journey ahead, trusting in the profound mystery that Jesus was revealing? What might they discover within themselves as they listened and followed him into the unknown? The rain began to fall in gentle sheets, each drop a reminder of the promise made to the earth. The disciples huddled closer to Jesus, finding solace in his steady presence, even as the storm grew more relentless. Thunder rolled, a deep rumble that resonated in their chests, echoing the tumult of their thoughts. It was then that they came upon a small clearing, a quiet refuge from the chaos, where the trees seemed to bow down, sheltering them from the tempest overhead. As they settled in, the weight of their earlier conversation pressed heavily upon them. James, who often spoke scarcely yet thoughtfully, broke the silence. "Jesus, when we witnessed Moses and Elijah, it felt as if the heavens themselves bestowed honor upon you. But why now? Why at this moment in our journey?" Jesus knelt beside a fallen log, beckoning them closer, his eyes radiating understanding and patience. "Moses represents the law, Elijah embodies the prophets. They came to bear witness not only to my mission but to affirm the continuity of God's purpose through the ages. In their presence, you see the threads woven throughout history, the divine design dissected by time." Andrew, ever the curious disciple, asked with wonder, "And what of their appearance aligns with your message? What lesson do we draw from such a miraculous encounter?" The rain intensified, but within that space, it felt as if a sacred hush enveloped them. "Their meeting signifies an enduring connection between the old and the new," Jesus explained. "Moses brought forth the covenant, and Elijah called Israel back to faithfulness. My purpose does not abolish but rather fulfills the law and the prophets, revealing the heart of God in ways yet to be fully understood." As the rain plastered their robes to their bodies, Peter, still grappling with doubts, raised his hand, palms open, confessing, "But we struggle with understanding. Can our failures be redeemed? How can we press onward when the gravity of our doubts feels so heavy?" "It is in the struggle that you draw closer to me," Jesus replied, a gentle firmness in his voice. "Each doubt, each fear, serves as an invitation to lean deeper into trust. Remember, the heart of the law is love, and the soul of the prophecy is hope. In embracing the journey, you will come to see that each challenge bears the seed of growth." As the storm raged on, light broke through the clouds momentarily, bathing them in a silvery glow. The radiance seemed to answer unanswered questions, each shimmer a sign of divine assurance. Thomas, wrestling with acceptance, reflected aloud, "But how do we make sense of gaps in faith? The unseen spurs our confusion, yet you call us toward belief amidst uncertainty." "Belief grows in the fertile ground of vulnerability," Jesus said. "In our longing for certainty, we often overlook the beauty of mystery. Every time you choose to step forward in faith, even without clear understanding, you cultivate an intimacy with the Creator, who holds the universe in his hands." As the rain began to slacken, a quiet resolve settled upon the disciples, yet the deeper questions lingered in the recesses of their minds. They were not merely onlookers of a grand narrative, they were being invited into it, a sacred participation that filled them with both trepidation and awe. When the last of the storm cloud rolled away, the scent of damp earth filled the air, fresh and cleansing. They stood now, not just as disciples but as witnesses to a greater call. The glowing world outside seemed to beckon them forward, towards a destiny intertwined with the miraculous. Could they accept the invitation to step boldly into the mystery that awaited, trusting the unseen just beyond the horizon? What revelations awaited them on the path that called ever louder, urging them to embrace the unknown with open hearts and willing spirits? As the first rays of dawn broke through the remnants of the storm, the clearing transformed into a sanctuary of vibrant colors. The disciples felt invigorated, their senses heightened by the cleansing rain. They ventured away from their refuge, emboldened by the reflections of Jesus' words, yet mimicking the nature around them. The air remained charged with unspoken questions. Thoughts swirled within Nathanael as he caught up with Philip, who was lingering at the edge of the clearing. Do you feel it too? Nathanael pondered. It's as if the air itself is heavy with revelation, and yet we remain shrouded in uncertainty. Philip nodded slowly. Indeed. There's a whisper in my heart that tells me we haven't yet grasped the full essence of what just occurred on that mountain. Why were Moses and Elijah summoned? Their presence was not incidental, it danced with purpose. But what purpose? Their conversation caught the attention of John, who approached with a lightness in his step that belied the weight of their shared experience. What if their appearance carries more than a witness? What if it is a herald of transformation not just for Jesus but for us all? The thought rang in Nathanael's mind like a bell, a mixture of anxiety and anticipation weaving through him. John, if it denotes transformation, then what does it mean for our lives? Are we merely followers, or are we being called to act? The implication is both thrilling and terrifying. Meanwhile, Jesus examined the beauty of the dawn, the colors emanating not just from the earth, but from the hearts of those gathered. They still bore the weight of the storm, but within them burgeoned an understanding that their journey had shifted course. He turned to address them, sensing the tumult of thoughts unexpressed. What is it you wish to understand? Jesus asked, the morning sun illuminating his features, casting an aura of warmth around him. Thomas stepped forward, his brow furrowed with contemplation. Lord, you spoke of the law and the prophets. If their appearance signifies our connection to a broader purpose, then what change must we embody? What does it mean for our lives going forward? The peace that resonated from Jesus soothed the uncertainty surrounding them. You are called to participate in the unfolding narrative of God's love. Just as Moses led the people out of bondage and Elijah stood against corruption, you too hold a vital role in the story of redemption. Peter's eyes widened, a spark igniting within him. So it is not merely about following you, Lord, but also about becoming conduits of the truth and love you represent. The call to action lies with us, doesn't it? Exactly, Jesus affirmed, his gaze steady and invigorating. The law offers guidance, the prophets challenge complacency, your task is to embody both. The moments of transfiguration you have witnessed serve as a reminder that true change initiates from within. You must learn to see beyond the immediate chaos and embrace the grand tapestry of faith. The sun continued to rise, its light growing with each passing moment, illuminating not only the landscape but their understanding. The mystery was unfolding, yet they still grasped at the edges, uncertain about their capability to respond to this higher calling. As they stood together, a ripple of shared determination flowed through them. They were more than mere witnesses, they were participants in the divine narrative intertwined with their own lives. But with this realization loomed the deeper questions. How could they fully embrace this calling? And what trials awaited them, urging them to step further into this vast and sacred mystery? In the quiet after the storm, how could they come to terms with the call to bear witness to the truth and shine that light in a world still cloaked in shadows? What obstacles would challenge their resolve, demanding a deeper faith than they had ever known? As the disciples stood encircled by the vibrant hues of dawn, a palpable sense of wonder wrapped around them like a garment. The anticipation of a deeper calling lingered uncomfortably, just beyond their comprehension. They began to move toward the edge of the clearing, feet shifting on the dewy grass, raindrops still clinging to the leaves like pearls, reflecting the nascent light. Jesus remained at the center, steadying his gaze upon the horizon where the dawn met the skies. Look, he proclaimed softly, yet with authority, the sun rises for all. It does not shy away from illuminating the dark corners, nor does it choose whom it warms. At his words, a flicker of understanding sparked among the disciples. Andrew spoke up, Master, if the sun rises for all, then so must our call be to share this light without prejudice. Indeed, replied Jesus, but the path to sharing such light is laden with challenges and requires unwavering resolve. Just as Moses endured the trials of the desert and Elijah faced the fears of kings, so shall you confront your own tribulations. Bartholomew looked perplexed. But why Moses and Elijah? What is it about their presence that signifies our path? Both figures carry profound wisdom, Jesus answered, a gleam in his eye. Moses represented the law, a guide to conduct and righteousness. Elijah embodied the voice of the prophets, calling for justice and restoration. Their union on that mountain signifies a bridge between what was and what is yet to come, binding together the promise of the old and the mystery of the new. A moment of silence passed, filled with the rustle of leaves and the songs of awakening birds. Each disciple held tightly to the implications of what had been revealed. Philip finally ventured, "So, are we to become the living fulfillment of both the law and the prophetic word?" "Yes, my friends," Jesus affirmed, "but you must understand that the role you are to play will not come without struggle. Each of you shall be tested, and your faith will be forged like silver in the fire." The weight of this revelation bore down upon them, igniting a mix of dread and exhilaration. Thomas, ever the skeptic, whispered, "But how can we endure the trials? What if we falter in our steps?" Jesus turned, his gaze enveloping them in boundless compassion. "Doubt not. Remember, even in your weakness, you are never alone. I walk beside you. Each trial will be an opportunity for deeper faith, for in weakness, my strength can be made perfect." The sun climbed higher, casting in golden glow that mirrored the shifts in their spirits. However, a heaviness remained, unvoiced yet deeply felt. Nathanael reflected, "But whom do we become in the eyes of the world? Will we be viewed as mere outcasts, or will we be seen as vessels of truth?" Before Jesus could respond, a gentle breeze rustled through the clearing, causing the branches to sway, as if nature herself was contemplating the weight of their dialogue. The silence that blanketed them carried the burden of uncertainty. Each disciple pondered their own journey in the light of this daunting calling. With a newfound determination, Peter stepped forward, "Then let us prepare ourselves, come what may. If we are to embody this sacred narrative, we need to know not merely our roles, but also the depths of our hearts." As the last echoes of his voice dissipated, a stillness descended, hinting at a shared awakening. What do we truly seek from this calling? John pondered quietly. And how do we not only live for ourselves, but also for a world thirsting for the truth we struggle to embrace? The questions lingered in the air, vibrant yet unresolved, each syllable pregnant with possibility. The disciples stood together, poised on the threshold of discovery, uncertain what lay ahead but resolute in the commitment to seek, to learn, and perhaps, to grow beyond their wildest imaginings. Would they muster the courage to embody the divine light, reflecting the wisdom of Moses and the boldness of Elijah, even in the face of their own shadows? As the morning sun ascended, its brilliant rays casting silhouettes of the disciples against the tapestry of the dawn, they remained united in their contemplation. Each heart pulsed with anticipation and longing, a collective pulse reflecting the spirit within them. The weight of their calling pressed heavily, yet there was a flickering hope that danced just beyond the horizon of their understanding. Jesus, standing at the center of the clearing, seemed almost ethereal, the soft morning light haloing around him. He stepped forward, compassion etched across his features as he addressed them gently. "The journey you are about to embark upon will demand not only your strength but also your hearts to be open to the divine mysteries that lie concealed in the shadows." James, his brow furrowed, dared to speak forth, "You mention trials, Master. But what if our hearts hold burdens we cannot share? Can our weaknesses be transformed as you say? Every burden you carry becomes a part of the tapestry of faith." Jesus answered, his voice soothing like a balm. "You must not fear to reveal your hearts to one another, for in vulnerability, you shall find strength. Even the most magnificent light cannot shine forth without the backdrop of darkness." As the disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, Peter, feeling the weight of his own doubts, whispered, "And what of judgment? Will our struggles make us seem unworthy before the people?" "Perceptions of worthiness," Jesus replied, "are often birthed from fear and misunderstanding. Know this, it is not the opinion of the world that will define you, but the love you choose to embody. Reflect not on how you are seen, but on the truth you carry within. At that moment, a cool breeze swept through the clearing, stirring the leaves above. Looking up, they saw that the branches whispered secrets to one another. Thomas, compelled by curiosity, sought to pierce through the uncertainty. "Master, these figures we spoke of, Moses and Elijah, what was it that led you to commune with them? What deeper truth did they reveal during that sacred encounter?" Jesus turned, and the reflection of wisdom in his eyes sparkled. Their meeting was not merely for the sake of prophecy, but for the alignment of purpose. Each represents a distinct covenant, Moses with the law, solidifying the promises given, and Elijah, embodying the spirit of the prophetic guidance, calling his people back to hearts of devotion. "Both journeys converge in me, but how does this affect us? Bartholomew's voice trembled with a blend of confusion and eagerness. Will we be like them? Are we not merely fishermen and common men? Ah, dear Bartholomew, Jesus smiled softly, it is in the ordinary that the extraordinary is birthed. Like unassuming seeds beneath the soil, it is not yet apparent how you shall break forth into the light. You are being called to weave the old with the new, forging a path not dictated by earth's understanding of greatness, but one born of sacrifice, love, and unity. As they stood entranced by his words, the deepening mystery of their calling washed over them. Nathanael's thoughts wandered, questioning like clouds shifting across the sky, if our purpose is to unveil the divine truths of the law and prophets, then how do we reconcile our imperfections in that narrative? Will our flaws not tarnish the light we seek to share? Consider this, Jesus said, his voice a gentle, guiding stream. In the patterns of the universe, stars are born from the chaos of collapsing dust, beauty emerges from the unlikeliest of places. Your imperfections will not hinder the light but reflect your humanity, allowing others to see the path of grace. The disciples absorbed his words like a river quenching their thirst, yet the undercurrent of uncertainty remained. The harmony of their shared journey hung delicately in the air as they wrestled with Jesus' profound insights. Just before the sun reached its zenith, John broke the absorbent silence with a new question: what do we tell others when they question the very essence of our being? How do we explain the urgency of this mission? The sharing of truth begins with intimacy, replied Jesus. Let your lives be the testimonies born of love, your very existence a reflection of my light and invitation for others to explore their own questions and mysteries. As the day unfolded and shadows danced about them, a collective breath settled within the group. They stood on the brink of a journey they could barely comprehend, yet the tremors of excitement and fear intertwined in their hearts. What if in sharing their own struggles, they unearthed a greater light? Could vulnerability become the bridge to a deeper understanding not just for themselves, but for all who sought to make sense of their own paths? As they wrestled with these newfound revelations, they quietly pondered, how does one embody a calling that is as beautiful as it is frightening? As the sun fully ascended, it painted the sky in vivid hues, echoing the vibrancy of the life blooming around them. The disciples felt the warmth envelop them, a slow unfolding of something remarkable just beyond their reach. Within their hearts, as they sought answers, an even bigger question loomed, one that echoed through the ages. What was the true significance of their gathering? After a moment of silence, Matthew ventured forth with earnest curiosity, Master, if we are to embody the essence of your teachings, how do we become conduits of those ancient truths? What steps must we take to witness to others? Jesus, observing the earnestness in each of their gazes, took a deep breath, as if inhaling the essence of their yearning. Your journey will reveal itself through acts of love and compassion. Each step you take on this path shall illuminate not only your own way but also the paths of those who walk beside you. But as we seek to reflect your love, Simon added, wrestling with his own apprehensions, how do we guard against the cynicism that may arise from those we approach? What happens if they disregard what we bear? The truth you carry will invite responses beyond your control, Jesus reminded him. While some might turn away, others will yearn for the hope you bring, a balm for their wounds. Approach all with gentleness, understanding that even seeds require nurturing to sprout in rocky or fertile soil. Suddenly, the air thickened with a charged anticipation, much like the stillness before a storm. Andrew, feeling bold, interjected, but what if we falter? What if our flaws blind us to the light we wish to share? Ah, Andrew, Jesus replied, his eyes reflecting the depth of his understanding. Remember, it is through your vulnerability that the richest connections are forged. It is not the perfection of your demeanor but the authenticity of your spirit that will resonate with others. Share your journey, its trials and celebrations alike. While his words lingered, an inner resonance began to awaken, one that connected the disparate meanings they had touched upon. James raised his hand, the spark of understanding igniting within him. Are we not called to be like those who have gone before us? Just as Moses led his people, did not Elijah also face scorn for speaking truth? Could our lives echo their trials, yet still weave a new story? Precisely, Jesus affirmed with a nod. Your history, intertwined with your struggles, will birth a narrative that speaks to the soul of humanity. You must learn to embrace the challenge as holy ground, for within that discomfort lies the clarity that you are chosen vessels of my purpose. As if the heavens conspired to punctuate this communion, the wind picked up, playing a soft melody through the swaying branches. The disciples fell into a moment of reflective silence, each heart called to ponder their own fears, hopes, and aspirations. Thomas finally broke that silence. If our past, filled with missteps and uncertainties, is where we find our truth, then how do we honor that journey while also forging forward into what is yet unknown? Jesus looked upon him with a softness that conveyed both understanding and depth. Your past does not bind you, rather, it enriches the soil from which your spirit will bloom. Like the prophets, you must embrace the trials not as anchors, but as stepping stones. It is in the embracing that you learn to transcend, to understand that your evolution is an essential part of my design. As they wrestled with this newfound understanding, the sun continued its ascent, seemingly illuminating the boundaries of their doubts and fears. Each man's heart was rich with the significance of their mission, yet they still stood at the edge of a precipice, gazing into the vastness of the unknown. What if in accepting their full identities, which included their flaws, they could be transformed into vessels of hope? Would their shared vulnerability cast light upon the darker corners of humanity? And so, in the quiet of that sacred moment, they pondered deeply how might their journey of faith weave into the universal quest for belonging and purpose. As the sun climbed higher, it painted the sky with the brilliance of the faithful hearts gathered below. It was a moment heavy with purpose, and the air was laced with unspoken anticipation. The disciples, still processing Jesus' profound teachings, felt an inexplicable stirring within them, as if a forgotten truth was beginning to emerge from the depths of their spirits. Peter, emboldened, broke the silence anew. Master, as we reflect on our past and the stories woven into our identities, what can we learn from those who have preceded us? What do Moses and Elijah signify in our own walk of faith? Jesus listened intently, the corners of his mouth hinting at a knowing smile. Moses, the liberator, and Elijah, the prophet, represent more than mere shadows of history, they are the embodiment of faith in action, the essence of a covenant renewed. Each bore the weight of divine purpose, facing trials that seemed insurmountable. But through unwavering trust, they found a way to unveil the future amidst uncertainty. John, grappling with the depth of his words, added, "But how do we even begin to measure up to such monumental figures? Their journeys seem so distant from ours." "Your task is not to measure," Jesus replied, his voice gentle yet firm. "Compare not yourself against others, but rather against the truth of your own heart. Each of you possesses a unique spark, a voice meant to echo through the ages. The legacy of Moses and Elijah is forged not solely in their triumphs but also in their fragility, in their willingness to struggle for a greater cause." As Jesus spoke, a shimmer of understanding appeared to break through the clouds of doubt that had gathered among them. They began to see Moses on the mountain, pleading with God, and Elijah in the wilderness, wrestling with despair. Their stories resonated within stories not of unblemished lives but of fervent hope amid profound uncertainty. "Master," Philip interjected softly, "is it possible that our own blemishes can transform into something divine? Can our struggles lead us to a greater understanding, one that encompasses those we seek to reach?" "Indeed, Philip," Jesus affirmed, his gaze sweeping over each disciple. "Your struggles hold the key to authenticity. In your very imperfections lies a tapestry of grace woven together by trials endured. It is this truth that will resonate with the hearts of many. When fractured pieces reflect the divine, others will see their own scars mirrored in you, awakening their desire for wholeness." A hush fell over the group, each contemplating how their individual narratives intersected with a larger story, a divine choreography of human experience. It was Thomas, once more, who dared to voice the unbidden truth. "But do we truly believe that our vulnerabilities can pave the way for others? What if they see us as less, rather than more?" "Do not fear their perceptions," Jesus reassured them, his presence a comforting balm. "In your humanity lies your strength. Witness not only your flaws but also the beauty that emerges from vulnerability. Through your authentic stories, the least will find the greatest hope." As they pondered his words, a gentle breeze stirred the leaves overhead, whispering age-old secrets. The very air around them felt charged with something unnameable, as if the heavens themselves marveled at their gathering. From afar, the mountain loomed, seemingly beckoning them toward an encounter not yet unveiled. The possibilities hidden within their hearts felt both daunting and exhilarating. How significant could it be that Moses and Elijah were not merely figures of the past, but heralds of an ongoing journey laden with divine purpose? As the shadows lengthened and the sun cast a golden hue over the gathering, one question lingered: were they ready to embrace the sacred tension of their own imperfections as they stepped bravely into the unfolding story of faith? In the vast landscape of humanity, what revelations awaited them as they walked the path illuminated by their shared light and vulnerability? As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting vibrant colors across the horizon, the disciples gathered their courage and prepared to embrace the challenges that lay ahead. The encounter on the mount had etched a profound revelation in their hearts. They were not mere spectators in a divine narrative, they were essential participants in a story woven through time, transcending the boundaries of past and future. Drawing strength from one another, they reflected on the words of Jesus. Each disciple had grasped fragments of understanding, threads of wisdom, identity, and purpose, yet they still yearned for clarity. At that moment, faith intertwined with resolve as they faced the inviting vastness of their upcoming journey. "Master," Andrew began, his voice steady yet filled with wonder, "if we are to embody the merging of the law and prophecy, how do we begin to manifest this in our daily lives? What is the first step toward fulfilling the mission you have entrusted to us?" Jesus turned, his eyes shining with the intensity of shared understanding. "Begin each day with love at the forefront. Love not as a fleeting sentiment but as a profound commitment, the very foundation from which all truth flows. Allow love to guide your actions and transform your hearts. In this, you will find the courage needed to face the trials ahead." As the disciples absorbed his teachings, they felt the stirrings of purpose awaken within them, a flickering flame that seemed to brighten with every passing moment. Yet, doubt still lingered in their hearts, and Thomas hesitated, challenging the uncertainty that remained an uninvited companion. "But what if we stumble? What if the weight of our imperfections clouds the light we seek to share?" "Remember, my friend," Jesus replied with a gentle firmness, "imperfection is a facet of the human experience and not a barrier to the divine. When you stumble, rise again, and lean into the love that surrounds you. In your vulnerability lies an authentic connection with those you seek to lead. They too are struggling. Your testimony, shaped by trials, will be a wellspring of hope for others." Inspired, Peter stepped forward, emboldened by the vision of what lay ahead. "Then we shall share our stories, our struggles, and our triumphs. If love is to be our guide, then let us not shy away from the darkness but instead shine our light into those shadows. What is the use of hiding behind facades when authenticity can illuminate paths we never thought possible?" "Yes," Jesus affirmed, pride shimmering in his gaze, "to be vessels of light, you must embrace your true selves. Speak not from a place of perfection, but from the wounds that have shaped you. The scars tell a story of redemption, of growth, of the divine weaving through your lives. Your imperfections are not a stain but rather a frame for the masterpiece of faith." As Jesus spoke, the air around them seemed thick with significance, resonating with their burgeoning resolve. The beauty of the dawn continued to unfurl, its hues painting the landscape as if reflecting the inner transformation stirring in each heart. Among them, there was a collective sense of awakening, a dawning realization that they were indeed capable of embodying the ancient truths and revealing the divine in the everyday. "Then let us journey together," suggested John, his spirit aflame with determination. "Let us support one another, celebrate our victories, and bear the weight of our burdens collectively. As brothers and sisters, we can navigate the tumultuous waters ahead." "Indeed," affirmed Judas, his voice steadying the group's enthusiasm. "If we are to be witnesses in this world, we must forge an unbreakable bond, rooted in love and unified purpose. We shall be our own reminders of hope when we falter." As the reality of their commitment began to settle upon them, an electric charge filled the air, echoing with the sacred promises of their journey. The sun continued on its path, blazing bright above them, a metaphor for the brilliance they hoped to share with the world. Just as this newfound camaraderie filled the clearing, the serene landscape around them answered with a gentle rustling of leaves and the distant song of a lark, as if all of creation rejoiced in their determination. It was as if the heavens had opened, illuminating their way and lifting the veils of uncertainty that had loomed for so long. Jesus stepped closer to them, his aura radiating assurance. "Go forth, then. As you bear witness, you will face challenges, but within those struggles lies the very essence of growth and connection. Hold fast to one another, and when you feel weary, remember that I am with you always until the end of the age. This promise resonated within the depths of their souls. As they prepared to embark on their journey, the disciples felt an unshakable sense of purpose ignite within them. They were no longer isolated seekers but a fellowship bound by a sacred charge, tasked with embodying the love and light of their Master. With hands clasped and hearts aligned, they turned towards the path descending from the mountain, anticipation tingling upon their skin. The road ahead was cloaked in mystery, yet invigorated with faith. They embraced the unknown with open arms. Each step forward would be lit by the fervent flame of love illuminating their way, ready to embrace the divine challenges that beckoned. And as they ventured forth into the world beyond, they understood that their story was not merely about their journey, but a continued weaving of hope for generations that would follow, a testament to the transformative power of love, community, and faith that transcends all boundaries. In that moment, under the radiant sun, one truth emerged clear and unwavering. The call to faith is not about perfection, but about authenticity and connect. A revelation that would ripple through time, echoing in the hearts of seekers for ages yet to come.